Rukus Avenue Radio.
Hi, I'm Lisa Crosato, and you're listening to Rukus Avenue Radio.
Namaste and hello, Rukus Avenue Radio listeners. This is your Rukus Avenue Radio correspondent, Priyadarshini G. Roy. We're live today in the studio at Dash Radio on Hollywood Boulevard with Lisa K. Crosato. Lisa, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Priya. It's a pleasure to be here. I'm honored. Thank you to have me.
Oh, awesome. And look, we match. We're ladies in red because
Ladies
it's a hot, steamy day in Los Angeles.
Yes.
And there's great synergy here in the studio, so we're going to have an amazing episode. And I'm going to go ahead and inform our listeners a little bit about Lisa and her background. So Lisa K. Crosato is an actress, writer, and producer based in Los Angeles and originally from Vancouver, Canada.
Woot, woot.
Yep. After acting in numerous independent films, Lisa turned to writing and producing to fuel her creativity. Her first written, produced, and starred in the film Kenmore Avenue was a hit at Cannes and is currently distributed by Shorts TV. That's an amazing trajectory, Lisa.
Yes, Cannes was very receptive. Thank you very much to that film, and what a lot of fun it is to be there. I can't wait to go back. I'm planning to go back next year.
Wow. So what was that like going from a virtual pandemic environment to in-person festivals?
First of all, thank you. It's a great question. I recently, the pandemic kept our festival, City of Angels Women's Film Festival, in the dark for a year, but then we went back and we're back again this year. And it's. I think people are ready to,
get back in the field
get into the networking and the in-person feeling movie experience and be, with other creative people and other filmmakers and writers and celebrate that. So I think that people are excited for that. Yeah.
I can attest to that. So I am the media marketing and community outreach manager at the Indian Film Festival of Los Angeles.
That's awesome.
And we were virtual for 2 years, and we just came back this year in our festival run from end of April to May.
Wow.
And the synergy was great.
Yeah.
Like the networking event was sold out. The after party was sold out.
Oh my gosh.
And it was just great for everyone to reconnect and enjoy world cinema because I think that's what cinema is at the end of the day. It's not about language. It is a universal language.
Yes.
And we connect with one another through our shared experiences.
Yeah, and it is, cinema is an international language. You don't need to speak one language. You just watch the moving images and the story. I think some of the most powerful films are films that are, or portions of films where you're able to just watch the visual language and not necessarily understand what people are saying. It can be in any language, but we all share the same universal emotions. So
I agree, and all those pent-up emotions from isolation during the pandemic lockdowns, being away from family or being too close to family, or anything and everything in between. I think everybody experienced those roller coaster of emotions, and we're ready to express that now through creativity.
Yeah, I agree, and I think we're ready to, like you said, to connect and socialize. And that's what we're going to do this September in a couple of days. So
we're really excited about the City of Angels Women's Film Festival. So a little background information. The City of Angels Women's Film Festival is a 3-day event celebrating diverse women's stories, both in film and script format, and screening outstanding features, documentaries, and short films that women have played a substantial role in creating. Submissions were received from all over the world, and we're really excited to be attending and covering the event. So Lisa, tell us more about it.
Well, thank you so much for covering the event. The festival started in 2019, just before the pandemic, and as I mentioned, we were dark for 1 year, and then the last 2 years, in 20 we were dark, and then 21 and this year we're going to be live again. But it has grown exponentially. We've had amazing support from women, incredible directors, incredible writers, people coming in from different countries, from Australia, from the UK. We actually have a really strong component to the festival that is UK based.
Okay.
My international producer, Paul Dubois, sets up the international virtual panels with filmmakers from London mostly, but anywhere in the UK and anywhere in Europe.
Okay.
And this year we're bringing in a film that won a BAFTA, which was The Black Cop, and that's in competition. So that film is in the mix and up for an award with us, of course. But He actually brings in a lot of amazing female filmmakers from all over the world. And the thing that I think is important is that we can start connecting women in Los Angeles and in the States with women in Europe and start collaborating, because there's a lot more opportunity if we start doing co-treaties and productions with each other and filming internationally as opposed to what's just happening locally. I think we have a much bigger, broader opportunity as women to get out.
If we unite together.
Yes, but globally, like, you know, in terms of doing business. I think that the virtual reality that we're living in, that the pandemic really ushered in, is actually ushering in a whole new wave of opportunity.
I couldn't agree more. So as a producer myself, I have done short films and for my MFA student films, but also commercials with like Sony TV USA and ZTV. And I've noticed that it is predominantly so much harder for women to create, whether that's in production, directing, screenplay writing, to get funded, to have to go to these business meetings to financiers. And I had to go with, you know, my iPad, the whole marketing scheme done, the whole the product projection, the production details to the T done to be taken seriously.
Absolutely. And that's one of the biggest missions of our festival, is to create and promote gender equality in the film industry, because we still don't have it. We are not paid as much as men in the film industry. I mean, many industries, but you know, I'm speaking to one specifically, which happens to be the film industry. Women do not make as much money in the film industry at this time. We're changing it, but we have a way to go. And I think one of the things that needs to happen is that I personally really believe that women need to be writing and creating their own material more than, yes, of course, we want women to be directing, but I think that it starts, we don't have enough discussion with writers and female writers. And I think when you get women writing and producing
at the
grassroots level, then there's more of a chance for that team that she put together to go on to be directed by a woman as well. So that's kind of my perspective, my personal opinion. But
I completely agree with that. I think I had a guest a couple of weeks ago, Almania, who wrote her story about Noor Inayat Khan playing at the Hollywood Fringe Festival, and we talked predominantly about writing and how important it is to do your research, because you see a lot of male directors who are obviously writer directors, and they have more control.
Yes.
And I think that's how women can assert that control, is when you do the research, you write your own content, you know it like the back of your hand, and you can assert that control in your production environment.
Absolutely, absolutely. I've written a screenplay recently that's female driven. It's about a very strong, very twisted female character. She's a serial killer, and I actually finished it a few months ago. It's about a woman named Sheila Labar, who's serving back-to-back life sentences.
Wow, so it's inspired by a true story.
Oh, yes.
Wonderful.
In fact, I have the life rights to the sister's story.
Okay.
But to your point about researching, it was months and months of research. But I think that what drew me to the story was that it was about a woman who was killing people, which is a very rare and unusual. Most serial killers are men. Sorry to say the truth, but
I mean, just look at Netflix documentaries, or like there's so many streaming documentaries, and you see these gruesome, heinous crimes committed by men. Yeah. But the one crime story that I found really fascinating when I was growing up as a teenager, I feel, what was her name? Judy, I forget her name, but she basically slit her husband's throat while he was in the shower.
Oh, God.
And she's still there. And I think those are the ones that become the most intriguing stories, although, you know, catastrophic and, you know, very sad and horrendous on a human level. But as far as storytelling is concerned, it's because you feel that women are the nurturing and the caregivers and still the backbone of any family. And for them what led them to take those steps, or how they were cultivated in an environment that led to such violence, is crazy in itself.
Yeah, and that's what makes it unique, unusual and rare. So
Yeah, absolutely. And I feel like as women, we are more apt to tell those stories because we understand the nuances. We understand the small things that are trigger points in society today.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
It's like, oh, okay, that's the nail that broke the camel's back.
Right, you can see
I
it.
would have done that too.
No.
I know, all jokes aside.
This is all going to be edited later. Just
we
kidding.
do not encourage violence.
No,
but
no.
when it comes to science fiction or drama enticing stories that we try to adapt for audiences, there are some cinematic liberties that we take, but then there's also staying true to the authentic human nature of that story.
Yeah.
And I think the City of Angels Women's Film Festival imbibes those films. So can you tell us about the lineup this year and what we can look forward to?
Well, absolutely. So that we have a lot of amazing films. We've got we have one called Gateway's Grind, which is a UK documentary about the lesbian club throughout the decades in London. That was like an underground club. It's really well done. It's amazing. We have the Black Cop, which I mentioned. We have a film called Off the Rails, which is directed by Jules Williamson and stars Judi Dench, and it was actually Kelly Preston's last movie.
Oh, wow.
So it's we're actually doing a tribute on Sunday, this Sunday, to Kelly, and it's very poignant because the movie themes speak about some of the same issues. It's a very poignant movie, and it's a female-driven cast movie, which we always embrace because we want to celebrate those films that are putting women, on the screen, and really. Also, I'm really appreciative of the men who are our allies in this, who are making films about women, and we have some great male directors as well. I have a film called Ang Motel that just lovely lead female protagonist, very touching movie. So we embrace all of our allies, and our message is pretty broad in that we just really want people to show more female representation, and that's our goal.
That's the goal.
Yeah, that's the goal.
I'm glad you mentioned the male allies because we live in a patriarchal society still, and a male-driven one at that in the entertainment industry.
Yes.
And there are many men who are not only allies, but they're working on the executive level to push forward these women's stories. And it's important to identify them as key teammates, supporters, and that we're in this together. And we can't do it without you, sadly.
No, it's not that sad.
It's not that sad. We need them, but it's
But
sometimes.
I know what your point is. I mean, we shouldn't need to have that support. It should already be there, but
it should already,
But we're making progress, and they
are part of that progress.
Yes, they are part of the progress.
So I don't want to alienate them, and we realize that we're in a society where we're striving for equal rights and equal voices being heard. So, and I think that also helps with not just women in the writing position, producing position, or even directing, but also in the executives of the Hollywood industry, which are run predominantly by men.
Right.
And I think when you have those women speak on behalf of the marginalized or the underrepresented, that's when you create those changes of like, I want you to listen to this story that was written by a female.
Yes.
Because sometimes we have great stories, as we all women do, from our own lives, from our female friends, or just, living life in general. And we kind of go through these inhibitions of like, is this worthy of sharing, or can anybody really relate to this story? Yeah. And it takes that person of power to be able to take that story that we may have been writing and put that in a place where it can be positioned to the accurate audience. Yeah. So, I mean, I know we kind of fast forwarded to the City of Angels Women's Film Festival, but tell us about your trajectory on a personal level, how you got into this line of work, and what really inspired your journey.
Absolutely. But one thing before I go on to that, I just want to mention we have the great honor, and it's an amazing honor to welcome Charles Burnett to a panel, who is Oscar-winning director, legendary director, and he's going to be speaking on a panel on Sunday at 11 o'clock. So we're thrilled about that. So if you want to attend the panel, come to the Whitefire Theater, Sherman Oaks, and check it out. But so you were asking about me personally.
About your journey as an artist.
Yes, I started as an actress in Vancouver, Canada, and I actually met a director there who was a well-known director. He was, you might have heard of a movie called Miracle on 34th Street.
Yes.
He was the little boy. He was a child star in that movie. And he basically encouraged me. He saw my work and he encouraged me to come to Los Angeles. And we became really close friends. He mentored me. He put me in the first movie I did, which was an action film. It was called Deadly Ransom. And I continued to work in independent action films. I did a lot of that. You know, this was all pre-Me Too. Kind of gives away my age, but it's okay. What came out of that, working in these independent movies, doing a lot of like girlfriend roles and second, you know, that kind of
supportive woman.
Well, it's supportive, nurturing
to
woman,
a male
to a male.
protagonist.
There you go. You hit the nail. So when I was reading scripts, I would always ask myself, well, why are there 10 roles in this screenplay for men and there's maybe two,
the mom and the girlfriend.
And the mom and the girlfriend for women, and so it stuck with me, and it resonated, and it hurt me a little bit because I feel like it's not just about me, it's about all the women that really want to be acting and having more representation, women of all backgrounds, you know. So that was kind of the impetus for me to start creating my own material and not wait for someone or the phone to ring.
Give you an opportunity.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. I think, I'll be candid, I think if you're just an actress, people might not like this, and you're not taking
proactive steps.
Yeah, you're a bit of a victim because you're just waiting for the phone. You know, it's I think you have to. I think we're in a time where there's so much opportunity to take matters into your own hands and create and actually kind of embrace other women who can join you in it and put projects together.
I completely agree with that because speaking from my own career trajectory, I am an actor, but at the same time, I realized that production is my long-term goal.
Yeah.
And before I even went to film school and learned production, I just gained all the experiences that I had from being on set because I was always a curious person. So whenever we were off the air, I would be going through and just observing keenly at the production.
Yeah.
What are they doing? What's the lingo what's a bogey on set? And just looking at the call sheets and listening to the banter, understanding what's written, and then asking questions when it's appropriate, because then there's also a hierarchy that you want to be respectful of. But also taking those experiences and putting that into a production opportunity that just came my way, and I had already had my own LLC set up. And I decided I'm not going to wait for the opportunity. I'm going to be ready for it, because you're never going to be in a perfect stance like, oh, I'm all gung-ho and I feel like I'm prepared. It's never about that. So how do you feel?
Yeah, I agree. And I think that when you start to really understand the business and do more in the business, I think it makes you more effective. I think, someone like Brad Pitt and Bradley Cooper, for example, a lot of people don't realize they produce as much or more than they act. Yes. And I think that that's something that's not really understood by the average. I mean, it's not shocking or anything, but it's something to consider because, it speaks to their talent in a broader way, because really putting a movie together is a miracle. And
nothing short of a miracle.
Right? And all of that coming together, that's why I'm so blown away by some of the filmmakers we have at this festival, and I'm really looking forward to checking out your festival, because when you're in a room full of filmmakers, they're all miracle makers.
Absolutely. Like, I feel like when you're an actor, you think oftentimes the set revolves around you, and it may seem like that because everyone's putting all this hard work for your scene, but it's not your scene, it's everyone's scene, it's everyone's project, and it's a collaborative effort when you actually take time to put your phone away and listen to the conversations from the sound department to the cinematography and the director speaking about shot lists and just the entire creative process, that you really start respecting the craft. And even in Bollywood specifically, there's so many actor producers who may act once in a while, maybe once a year, once every other year, but they produce tenfold.
Constantly.
Whether that is through films, streaming platforms, series, whatever they feel is a good story. I think people need to invest in stories more than the format in which it is distributed in. And I think that's what media is all about.
If you don't have a good story, you don't have anything. And a weak script will never give you a great movie. You need a great script to have a great movie, right? It's just,
Absolutely.
you can't, and so everything gets back to how good is the script, and that is a skill that is highly specific, and I think actors actually are in a good position to write because they understand dialogue, and I think, having read a lot of scripts, I think a lot of writers, it's the hardest part for them is dialogue, and I think because actors work with dialogue so much, we naturally know that
the delivery.
Well, the delivery is like, it's non sequitur. Like, look at the conversation we're having. We don't say things in a logical order that is scripted per se. Our thoughts come into, if we're free flowing in our thoughts, but our dialogue is actually like that. We stop in certain places
because we're human beings,
right.
And there's pauses and beats, and it's just a natural way of communication. You listen as much as you speak, and I feel like a lot of actors, they kind of want to just regurgitate and deliver their dialogues and be, oh God, I did my part, I'm done.
Right.
And it's so much more than that to be able to be a good listener, to be a good artist, whether you're an actor.
But I think it gets back to, it's not how we behave in real life. In real life, we do this. I'm saying we 3 times. Does a writer put we? No, because but it's natural. That's it's really everyone speaks differently, but it has to come from
to flow from an organic place.
There you go. Exactly.
And I think it also speaks to the writing process and understanding that certain people have more experience writing about certain characters and learning when it's okay to pass the torch on. So for example, if I was to write about a specific socioeconomic status of a woman raised in Minnesota in a subpar economic conditions, I don't think I have the caliber to write about that character because I've never been that character or been in that environment to observe that character keenly enough to do justice to that role.
But you could research it.
I can research it, and then the best idealistic situation is if somebody has been in that situation.
An interview.
To interview, to understand, to gauge that reaction or that just interaction of what that's been like. Because there are certain things that would be, I wouldn't even think about those situations as something, and it could be a situation that they've really had to go through and think 3 times, 4 times before taking that specific action.
Yeah, but I know that there's a very common phrase, write what you know, but I actually challenge that thought because I think that with imagination, you can write about a lot. I certainly didn't know much about serial killers until I researched it. So depending on what your topic is, there is a way to delve into that. And I actually have a lot of respect for that. And I have a lot of respect for documentary filmmakers who may not know anything about the subject at the beginning, but by years later after they've done it, I've done a documentary. It's so involving. They know more than they ever takes over their life.
It takes you into this transportative journey where you are just engulfed by that. So tell us more about your documentary that you had done in the past.
The documentary I did was called From the Midst of Pain. It's about domestic violence, and it's about how women and how creativity heals in the lives of women who have dealt with domestic violence. I started the documentary with a Broadway actress. Her name's Lane Bradbury, who was doing workshops in creative arts with at-risk teens and with women coming from shelters. And what she was exploring was how being exposed to the arts, especially for some of these kids that were, disadvantaged youth, they didn't really know how to open up. But once they started learning about costuming or wardrobe or anything to do with making a film, holding a camera, and their personality started to change. They actually became very more relaxed and more open, and that's really what the exploration was about.
Kind of opening the mental blocks that kind of guard
and the
us.
pain and the trauma that is locked, and what will unlock that. And creativity is an incredible opportunity to heal.
I think that storytelling, whether that is through oral tradition, through visual arts, through any type of medium, is incredibly moving and healing because it shows empathy, where you feel that you're not isolated, that you didn't just feel this by yourself. Because at the end of the day, no matter where we come from, we all share the similar stories, especially as women. We can relate to certain things that maybe men would not consider an issue. It's those subtleties of, let's say, a scene where a woman is doing all the domestic chores by herself, and it's that quiet moment she's just having to herself that we really connect with, and you feel for her.
Yes.
There's no dialogue. There's no, it doesn't take a lot of lighting or all these things that you can add to make it cinematic storytelling, but it is effective.
Yeah.
And so, like, what moments can we look forward to at the City of Angels Women's Film Festival? We talked a little about some of the film lineups, but and the
gala,
the panel, the gala.
Did we mention Padmini?
We're going to talk about Bollywood living legend, Miss Padmini Kolhapuri, who is going to be attending and receiving an award
An
at
Angel
this
Award.
prestigious festival. So let's talk about her. We'll be talking more in depth with her coming up soon, but let's just talk a little bit about her.
Well, Padmini, I'm so looking forward to meeting. Of course, she is in India. She'll be flying in for the festival, and she'll be getting an Angel Award, which is an award that is given to people of extraordinary ability for their inspiration to women in the film industry. And certainly Padmini is an inspiration to women in the film industry, and she is, probably one of India's most celebrated actresses. Wouldn't you agree?
I would totally agree.
Yeah.
She has a very diverse repertoire of work, which speaks for itself, and she continues to live her art with dignity and with the most simplicity at that.
Yes, and absolutely, and she was the discovery of Raj Kapoor, and I know that means. I mean, she speaks about that frequently when she talks about herself, and I love his work, and so it's. It's just a great honor to have her fly in and to attend. So we're really proud, and we actually do want to build the festival as well for going forward with more actors from Indian cinema.
How do you feel like Indian cinema has changed the Hollywood scope of storytelling? Because there's a lot more prevalence now than when I was growing up.
I'm not an expert because I'm from Canada, although we have a very...
there's a lot of Indians in Canada.
There's a lot of Indian Canadians, and I'm not an expert, but I do see that... I'll say this. I see that cinema has become much more diverse and much more international, and movie making is much more international, and it's much more interesting because of it. I mean, I love watching foreign films. I grew up watching a lot of French movies and European movies because the actors, the French actresses and the British and Spanish actresses, I thought that they were just so genius in some of the way they dealt with their roles. It's a little different than what we do in Hollywood. In Hollywood, yes. In North America, and so I really absorbed a lot of that, and I traveled a lot, and I lived in London for a while, and I think that I've always been attracted to different cultures, and I think movie making is a language that speaks to everyone. It's kind of the theme of today, right?
That is our what is it? Yeah. Context and just like subtext of this whole interview.
It's really exciting to think that we all get the same big life stories, like the universal themes that affect everybody. We're all feeling them, and when we connect with them, one of the things I forgot to mention is iconic actress Dee Wallace will be on a virtual panel if your audience is interested and they want to get a ticket. It's Thursday, September 1st at 10 a.m. Pacific time. And Dee has been in, 200 movies, but of course everybody knows her as, from E.T., as her character in E.T., but her performance in Cujo is one of my favorite. I think every actress, if you've seen that movie, you've seen her performance in Cujo, where she's being attacked by the dog, she can't get out of the car. I think every actress wants that part. We all want that really highly emotional, and again, a lot of
explosion of just emotion
and reaction. Because if you really analyze that part of the movie, there's not a lot of dialogue.
It's just raw.
Right.
It's just the reaction that we talked about, like the non-dialogue deliveries,
non-verbal. Like one of the best scenes to one of my favorite actresses is Emily Blunt.
Oh yeah.
And Emily Blunt in the film where she's sliding into the bathtub and she goes into labor, it's all nonverbal.
Right.
That was I forget
the name, but I know what scene you're referring to.
Yeah. The Quiet Place.
The subtlety. The Quiet Place. Yes.
So that's again where you don't need any language, and you don't need subtitles. You just watch what's going on. You know what's going on.
It's just the acting, and then the sound obviously delivers the story home.
Right.
But the acting, it's like that ship that gets you there, and then the sound just lands it.
Yeah.
And it's like those moments that we talk about as women. You're like, you feel it.
Yeah.
You just feel it from the screen. Like, you feel like there's no fourth wall that has just obliterated, and you feel like you're in that place. You're there with her.
Right.
And that's like the power of cinema and storytelling.
And the virtual, I think virtual meetings and Zooms can be effective. I think if you get, I don't want to say the right group of people, but if you get a passionate group of people together that are willing,
the medium does not matter.
It doesn't matter, really. But it is nice to actually bring, for example, at the beginning of the announcements for our festival, we had a Zoom, and women came in from all over the world, including Beijing and Australia. And there was a woman from China who had a film that spoke about the issue around keeping a baby, getting pregnant, having a career, all these things that women have to deal with. And of course, we're dealing with them very strongly in this country now. But let's not forget that women in China have always been dealing with this in a very intense way and problematic way, or complex, let's use the word complex way. So again, cinema brings these issues to light without getting political.
Yes, because we're talking about human nature and human change and progression over time.
Yes, absolutely.
So we talk about character development or a character arc in a lot of screenplay classes or just script readings. And I think that the character has a trajectory which people relate to so much more than the end result or the resolution of the story.
Yes.
And I think that's what women's films are all about. And Lisa, please tell us more what we can look forward to from the City of Angels Women's Film Festival. We talked a little bit about the highlights, which we will cover later on in this episode.
Talk about the party.
But let's talk about where and when our fans can come and attend this amazing festival.
Well, absolutely. So the festival starts this Friday, the 2nd, and it will be at the Whitefire Theater in Sherman Oaks, and you can get tickets at the theater, or we recommend you get them on Eventbrite. Our website is a great way to get all tickets. All the information is there. There's a big sign, tickets and schedules. Click on that. It'll take you to the tickets on Eventbrite. And that's www.cityofangelswomensfilmfest.com. And we have an amazing gala. This festival really puts a lot into the event and to the celebration and the party, because it's important to celebrate your achievements.
Yes.
I know things are, through the pandemic, that hasn't been happening, but we are having, a champagne reception with media, with red carpet, with a DJ, with an open bar, with a stand-up comedian, with a magician, so this is like an event. This is, you won't regret, getting a ticket to this if you want to come and watch Padmini receive her award, or if you want to just meet some people and hang out for a couple of hours and not stick around for the actual ceremony, up to you. But we're doing that at the Bella Blanca Events Center, which is in North Hollywood. It used to be a Masonic temple. It's a very elegant, very beautiful location that you will, it's very Instagram worthy, let me tell you that.
You get a lot of nice pictures.
Yes, yeah.
But we're excited to cover the City of Angels Women's Festival, as the Rukus Ave Radio is a media sponsor.
Yes,
and
thank you so much.
We would love to attend and cover the festival, and obviously
you have to
celebrate Padmini Kolhapuriji's award recipient, and just the festival in general. Just as a woman filmmaker, a woman in entertainment, person of color, I would love to come and encourage all of our listeners to check out the details that will be mentioned also in this video. And as Lisa mentioned, please go to the website, check out the tickets. And then, Lisa, where can fans find you and the festival online if you want to share the social media handles?
Absolutely. So we're at cityofangelswomensfilmfest.com. And we're also on, that's for Instagram. And then we're on Facebook. It's COAWFF. And Twitter, the same, COAWFF, and we're also on LinkedIn, and I think we have a TikTok page. I know we have.
They're everywhere.
No, we do have a TikTok page, so we're on TikTok. But if you go to our website, at the very top, you'll see all of our socials bar, so it'll be there.
Perfect. And
But
then
I
where
really
can
just
fan-
want to.
Yes, go ahead.
No, I just want to thank Rukus Avenue because we're really, really excited about this collaboration, and I want to invite your colleagues to come and join us for the festival and the gala, and also we really look forward to attending and participating in supporting your event as well.
Oh, thank you so much, Lisa. It's been a pleasure having you on our show. Can you also share your own professional handles so that people can follow you and the festival as well?
Sure. Mine is at Lisa K. Crosato, and that's my last name is spelled Crosato. And also my Facebook is the same under my name. And where else? LinkedIn is the same. I'm not sure what other socials I'm on. But yes, you can find me out there.
You'll be able to find her.
Right.
She's such a warm, humbling person. It's our first interaction. We just feel this energy.
Kindred spirits. Look at the red. Woo, woo, woo.
Yeah. All right. So
thank you.
Thank you, Lisa, for coming on the show. Rukus Avenue Radio listeners, this is Priyadarshini G. Roy, your correspondent, signing off. Until next time.
Rukus Avenue Radio.